Gazzetta dello Sport. Have a look at this. It's us. And you can tell us what the subdeck underneath the headline says, Mina.
Oh, Super Balotelli, tutta l'Italia in festa. All of Italy are celebrating.
All of Italy are celebrating, courtesy of his 2 goals yesterday. Here is Corriere dello Sport as well. We'll show you in just a second when our producer wakes up. And it says, Giants of Italy. Look at that body, fantastic. Giants of Italy, wonderful headline. And the subdeck above the headline says, Mina?
It says, we beat Germany and now we're in the final.
Right, so 2 great headlines, but I want to ask you this question. How accepted is he? Because me personally, I don't think I could be accepted. I would want to play for a country that he couldn't play for the under-15s and the under-17 teams because he was still considered a Ghanaian immigrant. As far as he's concerned, he's had a lot of slights from Italy. And we were talking the other night about that disgraceful cartoon where he was depicted as King Kong wrapped around Big Ben.
Yeah.
And you were saying that they made an apology, but a very half-hearted apology.
Yeah.
Well, today's papers show this headline, and you basically pointed out the context of that. I want you to explain to our viewers the context of this headline on Tuttosport today.
Okay, well, it's funny because Tuttosport is a Turin-based newspaper, and it usually focuses on Torino and Juventus.
Don't worry,
Juventus.
The producer's waking up, he'll show them in a minute.
Juventus is, of course, here is li abbiamo fatti neri, which means we've made them black. Now, this is a play on words, you know, with the use of the word neri. Now, generally in slang, it means we've bruised them, but they've used it as a pun because, of course, he's a black man. Now, the thing is with you know, Tuttosport, Gazzetta, Corriere, they're all in competition, you know, so it's almost like Tuttosport got really jealous of all the attention Gazzetta dello Sport was getting over that cartoon and thought they'd be just as outlandishly annoying and rude with this kind of headline. And they've tried to defend themselves saying, well, no, this is just a pun, no one thinks this is racist. But I think that this tells you a lot about the Italy mentality at the moment. As far as how much he's accepted, there is always going to be a faction of them who don't think he is Italian. But I assure you that most people celebrated when it did come to Mario Balotelli. And I think that with Italy, there is this kind of, it's very, I've lived obviously in Spain and I'm Italian, but it's not so much racism as it is uneducated, and they can't get that out of their minds.
It's not funny.
It's not funny.
It's not
funny. It's not even clever.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not clever, it's not funny. Can you imagine our tabloids and even the broadsheets if Oxlade-Chamberlain scored a winning goal or Jermaine Defoe and they then sort of made reference to
yeah, but you can't say that because this
because I just think that shows how
he's
far
the
they are
first
behind.
black man. Yeah, it's true, but he is the first black man.
That's years behind. Just because, why would you highlight play on words on someone's colour, and everybody knows that Balotelli's black. You don't have to say that.
Exactly.
So that's treating him differently.
You're right.
To
because
the white
you're
players.
still having to refer. You're still having to refer to the fact that he is a black man, and they can't seem to get over that. You know, whereas they think they're going to be they think they're being clever. But this is where it is. You know, people like this isn't racist, and a lot of people, including Clarence Seedorf, you know, who have spoken about this in the past, saying you have to understand that with the Italians, they do all these things because they think they're funny, they think they're more intelligent, you know, and they're quite happy that there's a man there who's guiding them both socially and in football terms. He's taking Italy single-handedly to the next era. Simply, you know, evolution basically, simply because he is the first black man to have scored for Italy. But I have to, in this sense, say that it's not a country full of racists. It's a country full of uneducated people who don't realise what this means when they write it.
Let me bring in David Schiavone. He's been waiting very patiently to speak to us in our Skype wall. He writes for Forza Italia. I hope I got that right, David.
Forza Italia.
Forza Italia. Absolutely. And, well, I tell you, obviously you're celebrating after last night, but I want to bring you into this fairly incendiary conversation because you've heard what both of our guests here in the studio have to say. What's your view? You've been listening. What's your view? Where do you stand?
I've been listening. I would agree in what Mina's saying. I wouldn't say it's that they're uneducated. I would say it's more that it's a difference in generation. For example, if you take the older generation, people's grandparents and things like that, they've never lived in a multicultural society, and a lot of them just don't see people of ethnic minorities.
So how old are
Italian.
the editors of these newspapers? Are you saying that these editors are 60, 70 years of age?
not saying 60 or 70 years of age, but obviously they'll be a bit older. And
Well, how old? How old? How old?
50,
I've no
60.
idea how old the editors of the papers are, but I would assume they would be 40, 50 years old.
Yeah.
Right, so they're not aware of like the Western culture. Then are you talking? They're not they're not Eastern European
who
don't
Western
come across
culture. Imagine
ethnic
what
minorities.
Britain was like in the 1970s. That's how I would say Italy is now. What you said that Italy's behind, it is behind in terms of multiculturalism. If you look on Italian TV and the Italian public life, there are no kind of ethnic people. Mina's right in what she said about Mario Balotelli being somebody who's kind of dragging the country into the 21st century. Every single person on Italian TV is white and beautiful.
Yeah.
Every single
They don't even
person.
like ugly people.
Yeah,
It depends on what you like.
I'm going to enter the debate here because I hear what you're saying about the fact that Tutor Sport saw the attention that Gazzetta dello Sport got the other day
like
with that headline, and it's as if they're competing to see who could offend Balotelli more. I find it remarkable.
It's the
in this
apology
day and age.
that's a non-apology
Absolutely.
that makes it even worse.
And
it
you
is
explained that
It
the
is
other
a case
day.
of, well, look, I'm sorry if you took offence to it,
Yeah.
but we're not sorry that we actually printed this. And they said it's not one of our best, but what they should have said is that it's totally
Out of order.
which shouldn't have been done. We take, obviously
Absolutely.
been really upfront about it.
And what
But
this
they don't
says
think
to
it's
me,
out of order, though.
what this says to me,
That's the
Perry,
problem. They don't think
exactly,
it's out of order.
to me, this shames Italy. I think it does. I think it shames the Italian media. I think, as you were explaining, if you could have a situation where one newspaper insults a leading Italy international, and then another paper says, "Oh, we better get in on the act as well." It shames Italian media.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you think about this, David, but I don't think there is any way you could actually explain away the fact that they have insulted a leading figure in the Italian national side. And as Perry says, if the English press had done that about Jermaine Defoe, about Oxlade-Chamberlain, Rio Ferdinand, it would be an absolute scandal. So how can you defend it in Italy?
And you're a Western. It's a Western society.
I think there's one thing as well. If you look at I go to a lot of Italian football grounds, and the supporters, like most grounds, like this season, you hear monkey chants directed at black players. The kind of the biggest one, or the biggest example I can think of, was in the Milan derby, where Suli Montari was heckled more or less from the first minute. It was monkey chants all the way through the game, every single time he touched the ball, and you don't see if that happened in the UK, people would be ejected from the stadium. Something would happen. Clubs would be. I think Inter got a fine, a €20,000 fine for it, which essentially is nothing.
Incredible.
And when it happens, not enough's done to make people realise, wait a minute, you shouldn't do this. Whereas if it happened in the UK, because in a multicultural society we're more advanced, they don't realise that this is really bad.
Do you know, David, I think that's a really good point, because I think as a newspaper, Gazzetta, they're leading publications in Italy and they set the agenda. I want you to stay with us, David, because we're really pleased that we've got you on. We're going to go to a break, but we're going to be back after the break, so I want you to stay with us to continue this debate. It's Friday Night Live here on Sports Tonight Live. We're reflecting on the 30 games so far, the semi-finals, and looking ahead to the finals as well. And we've got domestic issues to talk about as well with our guest Mina Rzouki, the host of the World Football Show, and Perry Groves. So join us very shortly. We'll be back in 3 minutes or so. No football tonight, but lots of talking points here on Sports Tonight Live. We've just got the final to come. Spain play Italy. In the studio with me, the host of the World Football Show, Mina Rzouki, and Perry Groves. In the Skype wall, I'm pleased to say, David Schiavone from Forza Italia. We're talking about Italy and their successful bid to beat the Germans last night and reach the final to play Spain. But in particular, we're talking about Mario Balotelli. We did the racism angle. I want to ask about Mario Balotelli as a person, because we touched on it earlier in the show, Mina, and I asked the question about has he matured, has he grown up. What I want to ask now, has Cesare Prandelli, the Italy coach, and Roberto Mancini succeeded where Jose Mourinho failed? Because you think Prandelli deserves more credit than he's getting for rehabilitating, if you like, Mario Balotelli.
Well, on the national level, yes, certainly. I mean, I'm going to tell you that with Mourinho, what he likes a certain type of player, which is obviously the most professional you can get. And usually, at times, they're usually the older lot. He's worked and always sought out the older players because they are the ones who are quick to take on his mentality, his words, and then put that into action. But, you know, when it comes to Prandelli, he's sort of viewed as a father figure in Italy, and he is very respected tactician. He was brilliant with Fiorentina, absolutely brilliant. And then from the start, he put together this the notion of meritocracy. So it was like, you weren't going to be called up unless you deserved to be called up. There were no players that were going to just make the team because they had a star name. And that was firstly the best thing that he did. Secondly, he didn't call up players who did something bad and got a red card for it, because he needed them to make sure that they were going to keep their temperament, keep their tempers for the full 11 minutes, for the full 90 minutes, sorry. So then Daniele De Rossi wasn't called up when he got a red card for elbowing, I think it was Serna at that time. Yes, exactly. And then he didn't call up Mario Balotelli at the time when he also got a red card against
Arsenal, I think it was.
Arsenal, yeah.
Arsenal.
It was more the bad tackle on the song, wasn't it? Where he should have got the red card.
Yeah, and he just said that I'm not going to do that. So basically what happened is because he was the man to give Balotelli his national debut. He was the first person who believed in him on the international stage.
But, and it's a big but, David Scavoni, does he deserve more credit than Roberto Mancini?
That's a difficult question because Roberto Mancini works with him every day.
Absolutely.
I think just over the course of the tournament, though, if you look at, he's kind of held faith in Balotelli, even when Balotelli didn't play particularly well against Spain and Croatia. He's kept him in the team, and he brought him on against Ireland. He scored a wonderful goal, kept him on against England, and then he delivered against Germany. And I think if you look at even behind the scenes as well, his attitude after the game, the first thing he did when Italy won against Germany last night, he went up there and kind of gave his mum a hug and a kiss, and I think that says a lot about the man than
I don't know. Everyone's been eulogising about this on Twitter today, about the fact he went and gave his mum. I'd give my mum a hug and a kiss if she was in the stadium and I scored a goal. I don't think that makes him a better man or a person. He should love his mum.
He should.
But it just shows you that he's a guy who loves his mum.
I mean, I'm not having that. Listen, I've got a list of the stuff he's done. He's broken curfews. He's set off fireworks in his house.
But he loves his mum.
He turns up at Andrea Stramaccioni's press conference when he should have been preparing for games. Well, it was quite funny, but it was crazy as well. And I just think the things that he's done, hugging and kissing your mum, don't atone for those things.
No, of course not. No one is saying that.
But the stuff that he's done is someone who I don't think is very mature. He might be 21, but I don't think he's a mature 21-year-old. And because I think he's been indulged in his younger life because he's such a fantastic footballer.
Listen,
you've got the same
George Graham would never have put up with those antics when you were at Arsenal.
Actually, there was a lot of Darren, trust me, there was a lot of antics.
Tell the viewers.
Paul Merson got suspended for a month because he was drunk and he came at training, he got done for drink driving, and his behaviour went so far. And what happens is managers indulge talented players. Right, if you're a less talented player, like when I was, I knew that I couldn't get away with the behaviour that a Paul Merson get away with because he was more talented than me. So managers do indulge in talent, but I think what's happened
but he had the most horrific life growing up.
I know, but you can't keep going about the,
yes,
what happened.
Yes, you can. It's huge. It's a huge impact.
You understand that.
Imagine you are still playing in Serie A, and on top of it, you've got someone like Francesco Totti beating you up. I mean, for whole his life, people are either talking.
I know, but I could make it.
That is a good point, because I mean, when he was at Inter Milan, you had guys putting him up against the wall after the Barcelona game.
Right, you understand, like, people's backgrounds can make the person, right? But you can't just say, oh, I've had a bad life in the past, so therefore that's why. Let me just finish my point, Darren. With Mancini and with Prandelli, I think Mourinho, it was like trying to break a wild horse, right? And I think Mourinho was you do it this way, like he did with Joe Cole when he was at Chelsea. You're going to do it my way. If you don't do it this way and conform, you're done, right? You couldn't handle him. When he's gone to Mancini is a bit of both. I think he is a bit of carrot and a bit of stick. And I think when he let him down at the Arsenal game, then what does Balotelli do? He ain't going to go back to Italy and play because he doesn't like playing in Serie A because, as David said there, the abuse he gets.
So Mancini
said to him, I can't do any more for you now. You've taken it out of your hands. And then he got dropped, and Prandelli brilliantly went, well, if you're just because you get sent off your club, you're not going to be in my squad.
But he would
so I think
love-
both of them have given a little bit of sort of and I think Prandelli has said to the players as well, when Bonucci put his hand around his mouth to stop him shouting, I think he said to the players,
yeah, but
you've
you
got
were
to
saying
sort
to
him
me
out.
that's no, he didn't actually. No, I'm really sorry. I'm going to stay on this point. Of course, he wants to go back to Italy.
No
He
chance.
doesn't want to go back to Italy.
He wouldn't want to go back
He's
to
a
Italy.
Milan fan, Perry. What
Ain't
are
no
you
chance.
talking about?
With all the abuse that you've said that he gets at games,
listen,
no chance.
I'm really sorry, yeah, but
He wants
it's
to
not
stay
like
in England.
English Premier
Right,
League
if he
has
wanted to
no-
go, I'll tell you now,
Perry,
if he
can I
wanted to
please
go,
finish
he's
my
just got to
point?
say to Mancini,
Perry, let me finish
I don't
my
want to play here
point.
anymore,
Perry,
I want to go back to Italy,
Perry,
and he goes.
Let me finish my point, yeah? Please do not tell me for a second that the English Premier League has absolutely no racism in it
Nowhere near as
whatsoever.
much as Italy.
And it
Nowhere
comes-
near as much.
Oh, I don't care.
David
Perry,
just said
let me
they're
finish
doing
my point.
monkey
Let me
chants
finish my
at
point.
games.
Okay,
They
I'm
don't get
telling
that
you
in the
this.
Premier League.
There is, of course, I'm saying it 1 second. That doesn't mean that Mario Balotelli doesn't want to go back to his country and play football.
No, I don't.
He's a Milan. He's actually. If you're going to say it, you're just going to disagree, basically, despite the fact that he's come out and said that he would one day like to play in Milan.
David,
one day,
David,
now.
Yeah,
David,
now he doesn't want to
now.
go because he wants to make
I
himself.
want you to
Serie A is
adjudicate,
still
David.
his own target.
I want David to adjudicate in this. David, where do you stand? Because Mina feels passionately.
Mario Balotelli loves
Perry
his
says
country.
no.
Mario Balotelli will return to Italy one day, and he'll return to Milan like Mina said. I think the abuse he's gotten in the past, he has gotten it, and he might still get it if he does come back. But I think if the opportunity arose for him to come back, he would come back.
Why would he come back? They're insulting him in the papers. They're insulting him on the
loves
pitch.
Italy.
They're insulting him. Yeah, but love can't basically override all of those
But you
things.
have to
surely.
understand, yeah. Like, so it's like, why does Samuel Eto'o go to Russia when every day he gets that? Yeah, I'm really
point,
sorry.
good
I think
point.
But more
£300,000
than
a week
anything that
might
you say,
like, soften
you're
the
making
blow.
it out. Firstly, I don't like the fact that this is being made out that everywhere he goes, he's being monkey chants in Italy. This is not true.
No,
Okay?
absolutely. And
He
you
has
were the
gotten
person who
abused.
pointed out the
Yes.
headlines today
If you
to me.
go and you play in Spain, I assure you 100% having lived in Spain, yeah, that I tell you that it's much worse, okay, in their stadiums, yeah. And you've still got some
you don't
brilliant...
get-
No,
in the
no,
Premier
no.
League you
Let
don't
me
get
finish my point, yeah. No, you get abused by the captain of England, yeah, that's better.
No,
Yeah,
no,
good
no,
point.
no,
Okay,
that's
no,
hasn't been
I'm not-
proven yet.
no,
That's
no.
going to, you be careful, because that's
Fine.
going to court. That's not
Fine,
been proven.
fine, that's not been proven, but
No.
that is the
Allegedly.
accusation.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Right.
That is the
Allegedly.
accusation, yeah? So
Yes.
you're saying to me that they could do that. It's still not been proved. There's so many things that haven't
It
been
is
proved.
because
There is
clubs
a-
get fined.
No,
Well, look,
Perry,
let
let me
me
finish
bring-
my
let me-
point. If you're Italian, you will always want to go home. There will always be people who are against you, like Mesut Ozil, who grew up in Germany and having to live with the racist abuse over there. But he is still German. He still wants to play for his country.
Good
You're
point.
trying to tell me that a few people are going to keep him away from his Italianhood,
Okay.
from his mother
If
and
he wants to
father,
go
and
back-
Don't
his
answer, Perry.
name?
Perry, don't answer.
Why
Because I
not?
want David.
Why can't I answer?
I want
Mina's just
David to
had
have
a
the
rant.
last
I
word
can't
for
have
the
a
time
answer.
being. I want David to have the last word for the time being. Are you with Perry or are you with Mina?
I'm with Mina 100%. Mina says it's true. It's a minority. It's like the majority of people in Italy think Mario they think he's crazy, but they
You've
don't
got your two
hate him
national
in a
papers
racist
giving him.
way.
You've got your two
Yeah.
national papers, like the massive national papers in Italy, alluding to his colour. So it's not a minority because they're actually putting in the back of their papers what their readers want to see.
But it's a play on words, Perry. It's not an
not
attack
funny.
on Mario Balotelli. It's a play on words.
I'm not having
They're
that.
not going
No,
on.
it's not a play on words.
No,
It's because
no,
he's
Dad,
We hate
but
him. It's a
what
play
he's-
on words. We beat them black and blue. It's like we
It is a
played
slang
so
word
well.
used. We've said that before. It is a slang word used to mean be
well, look.
bruised. Yeah, it's not funny. It's not good. No one condones it. But what I wanted to explain is that Italy cannot be painted as a racist country from these idiotic people who are running the newspapers. I agree with that. But they are more of a country that doesn't know the meanings of these words or how much it can affect people. They don't go around thinking black people are less. This is very important for us to make because you're branding a whole country as racist.
No, I didn't. No, I said with the racist speech, which David said that in grounds now. You
David,
get monkey
stick up for
chants.
yourself.
No, what he said. He said clubs get fined for monkey chanting when
Yeah.
Balotelli's been playing. What I'm saying is he doesn't get that here, right? If he wanted to go back to Italy now, with what's happened at Man City, and you know how powerful players are, they just go to Mancini and say, actually, I don't like playing Premier. I want to go back to Serie A and play there. And he will be gone within an instant. Because they'll go, OK, Mario, we don't realise he wants to stay in English football in the Premier League because he enjoys playing in the Premier League and he enjoys working with
You're
Mancini.
right. He
so
likes-
he will
no,
not
no,
be going back to
no,
Italy in the foreseeable
No, but
future.
that's not
No
because
chance.
of the racism. This is what I want
No,
to make
because
the
I think he
distinction.
likes playing here. He doesn't get that sort of
he
racism
likes,
here.
Not because, this is my point. This is not why. He wants to stay in Manchester City because he thinks he's developing as a player. He loves the fact that he is playing alongside stars. He doesn't maybe want to go back to Italy now because he likes the opportunity he's being given now. now. But it's not like, oh, well, my country's racist. It's got terrible football. People are horrible. I want to stay in England. That's absolutely not what it is.
I
Because
didn't
if
say
someone,
that. I said he
All right,
wouldn't
well,
be
look,
going
I'm
back
going to
now.
step into
no,
this now.
only because of the opportunity. But I promise you, should have an opportunity arise in Italy, and be it Milan, he
Well,
will go
go-
back
I'm
in
going
a
to step
heartbeat.
into
Go
this now
AC
because
Milan,
from my
you can go Milan, you can go Juve.
Perry, from my opinion, and I'm going to thank you for the time being, David, for joining us. I do apologise for keeping you waiting for as long as I have done, but really do appreciate you contributing to the conversation.